All right, welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Yeah.
And today we're looking at...
a big one.
Yeah, a big one.
Mm-hmm.
A potential data exposure risk within Oracle NetSuite's Suite Commerce platform.
Right.
So we've got cybersecurity reports, news articles.
Legal filings.
Legal filings. This is a big one.
Yeah, it is.
So...
Lots to unpack.
Yeah, so our goal here is to help you understand what went wrong.
Why it matters.
Why it matters and what's being done to about it.
Right.
And... trust me, this is way more than like a technical glitch.
Oh, yeah.
This is like alleged corporate negligence, a whistleblower, and investigations all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
So
what's interesting here is that it's all about how businesses are configuring the platform.
interesting.
Like, think of it as a security system that has all the right parts.
Okay.
But it's installed wrong.
So it's not like a broken lock.
Exactly.
It's a lock on the wrong door.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Yeah, so... just to lay it all out, Oracle NetSuite's Suite Commerce platform, this is what businesses use to build those websites where you buy things, those e-commerce websites you see everywhere.
Right.
And inside NetSuite, they have something called custom record types.
Custom record types.
CRTs. And these let businesses, tailor how they organize their data.
Okay, so like adding custom shelves to a warehouse.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, each type of product gets its own special spot.
Okay, but where does the data exposure come in?
So the problem is when those CRTs, the access controls for them, get misconfigured, and this sensitive customer data.
Like on those e-commerce sites.
On those e-commerce sites.
Okay.
So things like names, addresses, phone numbers.
Right, all the stuff we want to keep safe.
Exactly.
Like someone's browsing an online store and they accidentally stumble upon this data?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's not as easy as just looking at a website.
Right.
So the APAMI report, this is like one of the big sources we're looking at today. It says unauthenticated users could get to this data through NetSuite's APIs.
APIs.
Yeah, applicational programming interfaces. They're like the messengers that let different software systems talk to each other.
Okay, so like digital couriers.
Exactly.
Delivering data back and forth.
Yeah, so like if someone knows how to use these APIs, they can basically skip the storefront and get into the warehouse backroom.
Ooh, sneaky.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the researchers who found this were able to do. They made a proof of concept. They got in.
Really? And so they used these specific API calls like load record and search record
Exactly.
to get access to information that should have been protected.
Yeah, stuff that should have been locked up tight.
So they did all this without even needing like a login or a password.
That's the scary part.
Wow.
It's like knowing the name of the CRT is like having a key to a specific shelf in that warehouse.
Okay.
And using those API calls, load record and search record, they can pull stuff off those shelves without permission.
Wow, okay.
And the report, it actually has these diagrams that map out how this all works.
Really?
For both those API calls. Yeah, it's kind of wild to see how exposed that data could be if those CRTs aren't set up right.
This is sounding like a pretty big deal. Like how many websites are we even talking about here?
Potentially thousands of live Suite Commerce websites.
Thousands?
Yeah, and what's worse, a lot of businesses might not even know they have this problem.
So like if they didn't even mean to set up an e-commerce store.
Yeah, but they have a default site running.
Oh, so they use NetSuite for other stuff.
Right.
But they have this like basic online shop they never even really use.
Exactly, like a backdoor to your warehouse that you didn't even know was open.
Oh, that's not good.
Not good at all.
All right, so that's a pretty clear picture of what happened and how big this could be.
Yeah, we've laid it all out.
So let's move on and talk about what this all means, because this isn't just about some data being out in the open.
No, this is way bigger than that.
Yeah.
This has some serious implications.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what are the consequences here?
I mean, it's bad. It's
Yeah.
bad for businesses. It's bad for customers. For
Yep.
businesses, you're talking big fines, lawsuits, all the costs of fixing this mess.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the damage to your reputation.
Right. Like, how do you regain customer trust?
Exactly. You can't really put a price on that.
Right.
And for the customers, I mean, this is identity theft, financial fraud.
All the cybercrime nightmare.
It's their personal information that's at stake.
Right, right.
And then you layer on all the legal and regulatory stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It gets even more complicated.
Okay.
So in the U.S., you've got potential HIPAA violations if they expose protected health information.
Right.
And then the EU, they have GDPR.
Right.
Very strict rules about data breaches.
So even if a company isn't like directly targeted, they could still be in trouble just because they have this vulnerability.
That's the thing. It's not about what you meant to do. It's about responsibility.
Okay.
And it doesn't stop there.
Oh, no.
You've got investigations by, like, Mexico's IAR, Canada's OPC,
Right.
plus the FTC and SDC in the U.S. could come after them for deceptive practices and not telling investors about this risk.
Wow. So this is truly a global issue.
It is, yeah.
But didn't we hear about this vulnerability a while ago?
Yeah, that's what the whistleblower comes. Senior project manager at NetSuite
Mm-hmm.
and a founding member of their Suite Commerce group.
Okay.
He found this vulnerability back in 2023.
So he was actually there, like, building the system that has this problem.
He was, and he says he reported it to Oracle.
Internally?
Internally, yeah.
Okay.
Sending emails. He even made a LinkedIn post in January 2025.
Oh, wow.
Trying to raise the alarm.
Right.
But instead of being, the hero, he says he faced retaliation.
Really?
Yeah, according to his filings and emails, he was kicked out of partner programs.
Oh, wow.
And people were saying bad things about him. He says he has proof.
So system records, emails, all that stuff.
The whole 9 yards, he says.
So it's kind of a he said, they said situation.
It is.
What does Oracle say?
Well, they've said publicly that this isn't a security problem with their product.
Okay.
They say it's a misconfiguration, their customer's fault.
Okay.
They're like, hey, we give everyone the instructions. It's up to them to use them, right?
Right.
It's more than that.
Okay.
He says this misconfiguration thing is so common and could be so bad that it basically is a security flaw.
Okay.
And that Oracle should have done more to stop it.
Like design the platform better.
Exactly, even if it meant making it harder to configure.
So build in more safeguards.
Right, and he says Oracle didn't warn customers enough about this risk.
Even after he told them.
Yeah, so he's saying they weren't transparent.
Okay.
But he's not just complaining.
He's taking action.
Yeah, he filed complaints with regulators.
EU GDPR folks?
Yeah, and they've actually given him whistleblower protection.
Wow.
And he's got a campaign on StockTwits to get investors' attention.
So he's really going for it.
Oh, yeah, and it's working.
Yeah.
Investors, analysts, even lawyers are paying attention.
Okay.
This thing is huge, could have consequences for Oracle all over the world.
So this has gone way beyond a technical glitch.
Oh, yeah, this is about corporate responsibility, data security.
Right.
And whether whistleblowers can hold powerful companies accountable.
Absolutely. And while we wait to see how this plays out, let's talk about what our listeners can do to protect themselves if they're using NetSuite Suite Commerce.
Yeah, that's important.
Like, where do you even start? Yeah, like if you're listening to this thinking, hold on, do I even use NetSuite?
Right. That's a good question.
Like, where do you even start figuring that out?
I mean, not everyone's a tech whiz, right?
Right.
You might not even know all the software your company uses.
Yeah.
But there are a few things you can do.
Okay.
First off, if you're dealing with online sales or managing customer data, talk to your IT department.
Right, or whoever handles your e-commerce stuff.
Exactly. See if they're using NetSuite, and specifically Suite Commerce.
And if they are, what then?
Well, that Apomnin report we keep talking about, they have some great advice.
Okay.
Those researchers really dug into this, and they have concrete steps you can take.
So to minimize the risk.
Yeah, to protect yourself.
Okay, let's go through those.
All right, so step 1, review the access controls on your CRTs.
The custom shelves, right?
Exactly. Make sure you have the right locks on the right doors.
So only authorized people can get to that sensitive customer information.
That's it.
Okay.
Next, set sensitive fields to none for public access.
Okay.
This is huge.
Why is that?
Even if the whole CRT has some restrictions, you want to make sure those individual fields with sensitive data are totally locked down.
So it's like having a vault inside the warehouse for the really valuable stuff.
Exactly. Even if someone gets into the warehouse, they can't touch the crown jewels.
I like it.
Yeah, it's an extra layer of protection.
Good to know. Is there anything else businesses should keep in mind?
Yeah, if you're really worried or if you handle super sensitive data like medical records or financial stuff, you might want to think about taking the affected sites offline for a bit.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I know it sounds extreme.
Yeah, is that really necessary?
It can be. Think of it like closing a store temporarily to do a security check.
Okay.
It's better to inconvenience people for a little while than risk a major data breach.
So you're weighing the inconvenience against the potential damage.
That's right. And it's important to remember, just putting a password on the site won't necessarily fix this.
Because the vulnerability is in those APIs, right?
Exactly. A password won't stop that.
So taking the site offline is really the safest option in some cases.
And remember, if this all sounds overwhelming, there are people who can help get in touch with a NetSuite consultant or a security expert who knows this platform.
Right.
They can do a security audit, help you configure everything, right?
So it's like hiring a security consultant for your house.
Exactly.
They'll tell you what kind of locks and alarms you need.
Yeah, you don't have to do this alone.
Right. Okay. Good to know.
And the big takeaway here is this isn't just a NetSuite problem.
Okay.
This kind of stuff can happen anywhere.
On any platform.
Yeah, so stay informed, be proactive, and get expert help when you need it.
All great advice. So just to sum up, we've got this potential data exposure risk with NetSuite's Suite Commerce platform, a whistleblower who's trying to warn everyone, and investigations all over the globe.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a complex situation for sure.
It is, but for our listeners, the most important thing is to take control of your data security.
Right.
Don't wait for a whistleblower or a data breach to happen.
Yeah, be proactive.
Exactly. Stay informed. Make sure you're doing everything you can to protect that sensitive information.
Couldn't agree more. This really shows how crucial data security is these days.
It really does.
And remember, this is still developing.
Okay.
We'll keep following it and give you updates as we learn more.
We will.
In the meantime, you can find links to all the sources we talked about, plus more info on our website.
Check it out.
Yeah, be sure to do that.
And remember, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
The more you know about this kind of stuff, the better you can protect yourself and your business.
That's it for this deep dive into the NetSuite vulnerability. Until next time, stay curious.